Hello, welcome to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Emilia O'Sullivan. She is an author, award-winning author. She's a podcaster, a motivational speaker, and a mentor. She is at the meaning of resilience, strong, the story of survival, and she's had so many health challenges herself. So thank you for coming on, Amelia.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. You invited me to your podcast, I'm in Control podcast, about 3 months ago. And since
Yeah,
you've
yep.
invited me, I have delved into your podcast and listened to your story.
Oh, thank you.
And it's been such an amazing story with so much going on from a very young age. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll get you to tell our listeners a bit about your health journey.
sure. So I'm 32 years old now, but I've basically been through 10 life-threatening medical conditions or diagnoses. And it all started when I was born, actually, and I was born with kidney disease. So straight out of my mum's womb, kidney disease. By the time I was 2 years old, I had my right kidney removed. And then over the years, I had reflux going from my bladder to my kidney. So slowly over time, that was damaging my kidney. I was also very, very prone to infections as well, all throughout my life. So I was in and out of hospital like it was my second home. Then I reached the age of 17 and my kidney transplant, oh, sorry, not transplant, my kidney on the left side was running at about 20% kidney function. So we knew that something had to be done. Now, the problem was I couldn't have the transplant because if we put a new one in, the same thing was going to happen. The reflux was going to happen and the infections were going to happen. So we had to fix that issue first. So at 17 years old, I had a major bladder reconstruction surgery. So they grabbed a bit of my intestine, they made it big and round, they cuffed it. So now there's no bladder fluid going from the bladder to the kidney, but I do use self-intermittent catheters, which is fine. It was a sacrifice I was willing to make to save my kidney. Now, we didn't know when my kidney was going to fail because it was such a big surgery. So it could have failed during the surgery, it could have failed 6 months later or years later. So when I was 21, my kidney finally failed. And it's just slowly, gradually failed. So it went down to 15%, 12%, 10%. And then before you know it, I was at 7% kidney function. And then I got put on dialysis. So I was on dialysis for, I think, 4 or 5 months. And dad was actually the one who gave me my kidney. So he needed to be worked up, all the testing needed to be redone. And then we needed to line up all the surgeons, and then I was put into surgery. So that was when I was 2021. Sorry, not 2021. I was 21 years old. So that was in 2014. I was doing great. Kidney worked immediately. I thought, great, I've got a new lease on life. No more health issues, no more hospitals. I was so wrong. Anyway, we get now 10 months post-transplant. So we're in 2015 now. And I had this knee pain, and I'd only just started to go back to the gym maybe 1 or 2 months prior to this. And I was seeing knee specialists, I was having x-rays, I was having ultrasounds, I was doing physio, anything you can think of to try and rehab the knee, I was doing. And if anything, it was getting worse. So I thought, well, there's something going on here. So I had my checkup with my private kidney doctor, and I said to him, I can't sleep, even sitting up, it hurts, it's excruciating. I go, even when I'm laying down, it actually gets worse. And he goes, well, that's weird. He booked me in for an MRI, which I think I lasted about 5 or 10 minutes in the machine because I couldn't, I was in that much pain. And they found out that I had a tumor in my back, which was referring me, or was referring down to my knee, which was causing the knee pain. So it wasn't even coming from the knee in the first place, even though we all thought it was. Anyway, immediately my doctor got me into a room at Warringal Private Hospital in Melbourne, and he started testing. So there was bone marrow biopsy, a groin biopsy of an actual tumor, a PET scan, blood tests, other scans, like you name it, pretty much had it all. Uh, and then about a week later, I was confronted with a hematologist, and he said, "I'm so sorry, Emilia, but you've got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma." And I just looked at him, and everyone in the room, which was my parents and my now husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and my family, and they all just started, getting upset and crying. And I said, "Can you please leave? Like, I need you guys to leave." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Just go. Let me talk to the doctor, and then I'll get you back in." So they're in the corridor, and I can hear them wailing and whatever. So I shut the door, and I looked straight at the doctor, and I said, "Right, what's the treatment? How long is the treatment? Um, how long is it gonna, like, how often is the treatment, and when will I go into remission?" Because I was certain I was going into remission.
Wow,
So
that
he answered all
positivity.
yes. So he goes, "Well, we can start this Friday, and it's one round after every 3 weeks, and it's called RCHOP chemotherapy, and we'll have to do a minimum of 6 months. And if you're in remission in 6 months, then you're done." I said, "Great, I'll take it." So I did all that, was in remission within 6 months, worked 4 days a week whilst I was doing the chemotherapy, still going to the gym, still going out. I was only 20, or I was 22 at the time, actually. So I was quite young. I was still going out, enjoying myself, acting like life is normal, which it is, because everyone's got a different normal. And then on my remission scan, everything was clear except some tumors that was on my liver. But on the scan, they looked different to what the lymphoma tumors looked like. So
Mhm.
we had to go and biopsy them. So we went and biopsied them, and they're called EBV-driven smooth muscle tumors. So
Mm.
EBV is the Epstein-Barr virus, as you would know,
Mhm.
and that is basically the glandular fever virus. And that came up to, wake up and played havoc in my body and grew these tumors. As far as I know, according to doctors in Melbourne, I haven't seen anyone else in Australia, but all the doctors in Melbourne, which we have the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre, they've never ever seen this type of tumour. So therefore, they have no idea how to treat them. So
Wow.
my liver was riddled. They were very small, but it was covered in tumours. So going in there and removing them surgically was a big task, and probably one that no surgeon would ever face doing. So it was a watch and wait. We biopsied them. The pathology said that they are very, very slow growing. They don't spread via the bloodstream. So each new lesion or tumor was a new occurrence. And we've got time to come up with a plan. So I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that." So from 2016 onwards, I had pneumonia, and I had a tumor in my lung, which had to get removed, and 5 days worth of radiation. I had internal radiation done on my liver to try and remove some of the tumors. I had a cytotoxic T cell therapy, which was actually flown from America,
Wow.
um, which was a immunotherapy type treatment. The idea was, hey, if we target the EBV and bring that low enough, then maybe the tumors will stop growing.
Mhm.
Um, every treatment I had done got a mixed response, except surgically removing them. So the one that we surgically removed in the lung back in 2016 or 17, one of those years, has never come back. So we go, all right, so surgically removing him is the best possible
Mhm.
plan and outcome. I also in that time got a lot of infections, which turned to urosepsis.
Mhm.
I think I got that 7 times.
Oh my God.
My worst one was when I was in a coma for 7 days and I had a cardiac arrest. So
Wow.
came back to life, basically had to be brought back to life.
Oh my God.
Um, then I had in 2020 a tumor was found in my pituitary gland area. And so we had to do a craniotomy. to remove that one, but it was wrapped around my optic nerve. So that had to be cut, which is why my right eyelid is permanently shut and it can't open on its own. A week later, they did transfer surgery to remove the rest of the tumor.
Mm.
Then later on in 2020, so December, pretty much 2020, I I said to the surgeons, I had tumors on the sides of my neck, sort of under my jaw. And I said, look, they're getting really big and uncomfortable. I'd like to remove them at some point, not now because I've just gone through, major head surgery.
Mm.
But can we just do a scan just to see where they're at, like an MRI, just to see where they're at and just make sure that they're not hitting on anything? And the doctor said, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we did it. And he goes, I'll see you in 3 months for the results. Anyway, I got a call a week later, and he said, come in. I've got something to discuss with you. I thought, oh no, this is bad.
Mm.
And so I went in and he said, do you have pain in your neck? And I said, no, other than the side pain that I told you about, no. He goes, no, 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 I mean the back of your neck. And I said, no. And at this point, I was actually working. I had a fish and chip shop with my parents. So I was on my feet all day, every day. And
Mm.
I didn't have this pain. Anyway, he said, well, your C5 vertebrae is fractured and there's a small tumor there. So we're going to have to go in and operate.
Oh my
But he
God.
goes, the good news is we can remove the side tumors at the same time. And I said, all right, well, it is what it is. We have to do it. So initially we went in and we removed the side tumors and he put a cage in the front. I don't know the technical term for it, but he put the
Mhm.
cage in the front in hoping that that would hold my spine up enough to fuse. Now, because I've been on steroids for so long, my bones are not the best. So my bones are pretty much osteoporosis, so that wasn't going to work. So 2 days later, we went in and did a spinal fusion from C2 to T1.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, so there's rods and screws from C2 to T1, and that held up and has held up perfectly since then.
Oh
So
my
all
God.
the surgeries I've had, the tumors have successfully gone and never come back.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
But
no more
some places,
cancers? No more
no,
cancers?
well, they're hard to explain. So what they are is they're not a typical cancer, but they are sort of classified as benign. But then when they start to cause infections or when they start to cause, if they're pushing on a duct, like say
Mhm.
they start to push on a duct in the liver and
Yeah.
start to cause issues,
Yeah.
but then they do have cancer properties. And this is why no
Okay.
one knows about them in Australia because they're that rare
Oh my
that no one
God.
has ever faced them before. So we don't know how to treat them. And I think there's been one or two studies done in America, which I got to read because my doctor sent it to me. And I mean, those both said surgical resection is the best method,
Okay.
but they have also tried other, less invasive
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, it just depends on where the tumor is, what it's doing, and whether it's big enough or small enough. If it's big, radiation's probably not going to work. If it's small, very likely for radiation to work.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I've got thyroid issues and I'm 5 laden, so I've got an increased risk of blood clots. And like I said, I had pneumonia a couple of times and I'm sure there's stuff missing, but they're the major things off the top of my
Oh
head.
my God. You're very young, 32, and you've
This all
been,
happened by 30, so
my God, you've gone through so much,
hmm.
so many operations, cancers, and medical treatment, and your book title is I would have I should have been fucking dead.
Yeah,
Is
oh
that
yeah, I
it?
definitely did, but yes, that's it.
Wow, yeah.
Yes,
It's
I
so
started to write
amazing
at 30. Afterwards, actually, that came after.
after 30.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you are better now? You're in a good place?
Yes, much, much better, much more stable. I mean, since 30, all I've had to really deal with is some kidney stones, which got blasted out. Other than that, a couple of infections here and there, and that's about it, which is
Wow.
very tame for me considering my medical history.
Yeah, yeah. So kidney failure, kidney transplant. lots of infections and being septic, going to intensive care and then cancer and surgery and losing an eye.
Yep.
Oh my God. How do you how do you manage? How do you keep going?
My driving force is life. I think I love life way too much. And
Mm,
I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready to leave Earth. I've got so many things to do and want to see and want to experience. So that's my driving factor. And the way I do that is I almost treat it like a strategical plan, like you do with anything, like business planning, money plan, anything. I look at the situation, I get all the information, and I go, right, I need to do, I'm here now. I need to get over there because I want it. Like, and that's when I mean over there, it means every time I've had something major, like a major surgery booked,
yep.
I'll book something afterwards when I'm well enough, obviously,
Okay.
to go and do. And like whether it's something small or big, it does not matter, but that's my end goal. So it's like, right, how many hurdles do I need to jump over to get to that end goal? And then I just focus on that. So your mind's not focusing on the medical stuff all the time. That just becomes a part-time job, really. And that's just, oh, I've just got another appointment today and that's it. All right, what do I need to do now? Do I need another blood test or do I need another scan or what do I need?
Wow, that is
Yeah.
amazing mindset. Just keep going.
Just keep going and never giving up. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of giving up? Is there any
Never.
time? No?
No, it's not in my vocabulary, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
The one time that really got me, and I've been so grateful for not, not suffering mental health, but the one thing that really, really got me was when they first discovered these tumors and we started the internal radiation and the immunotherapy, and not much was happening, but nothing was really growing either. It was sort of a mixed response. The doctor did tell me and said, look, if we can't work out how to treat these, then we might have to call you terminal and you'll have to go to palliative care.
Mm,
And terminal
yeah.
and palliative, again, are not in my vocabulary.
Okay.
I can
Yep.
laugh about it now, but I was distraught and I just got back into my car and I remember driving on the freeway, driving home, crying my eyes out.
Mm.
I pulled over and I rang up my husband and I told him, what she'd said. And he was like, but you never listened to them. Why are you listening to them now?
Well, he
I go,
knows
I
you
don't know. I
well.
think those words just scared me so much. And I go, you know what?
Yes.
You're right. I'm not going to be palliative. I'm not going to be terminal. And 10 years later, I'm still here and I'm not classified as terminal or in palliative care. So,
Wow.
yeah,
So you have proven those doctors wrong.
yeah, many, many, many times. Yeah,
Amazing. That is amazing. With
yeah.
all the treatment and biopsy and surgery that you've had, were you scared of the uncertainty and the fear of going into having the operation?
No, that doesn't scare me at all. Quite used to all that now. If
Wow.
anything, like now I'm a little bit scared. It's actually weird that you asked me that because
Mhm.
I was thinking about this last time I had to get put under, and I always seem to freak out like 2 minutes before they put me under. And I'm like, why? I've done this like 100 times over. Why am I freaking out now? And I'm freaking out more. And I'm thinking, but I'm getting older. I should know what's happening. And when you get put under, you lose that control, right? And you
Mm,
lose that. They're going to put me to sleep no matter what, and I can't stay awake. I don't
mm,
know what's going to happen on the other end, but I know deep down I'm going to be safe. I trust the doctors and surgeons and medical team 100%
mhm.
because they have done a great job in the end. Um, but that's just that little bit of fear that I get. And blood tests now, I'm like a baby when I get blood tests, whereas back when I was a teenager in my early 20s, I was like, yep, sure, here's my arm, take it. And I think now it's because my veins are getting so bad that they've got to try at least 4 or 5 times before they get it. So it's like,
Uh,
well, that's annoying and that hurts and that's but other than that, yeah, no fear at all. I actually get asked all the time when I'm in hospital, are you a doctor or a nurse? And I'm like, nope, I'm just a patient. They're like,
Yeah.
wow, you know so much. And I was like, yeah, just experience.
Yeah, you know all the jargons, you know all the
Yeah, yeah,
medical terms,
that's
and
it. And then because I
you,
studied pathology testing as well. So, when they're ordering blood tests and whatnot, they're shocked when I know all the what they're ordering and what they do. And they're like, are you sure you're not a doctor? I'm like, no, I just studied.
yeah, yeah, because you were going to become a pathologist or,
Well, I'm a pathology technician technically,
Mhm.
and I was gonna, yeah, become a scientist, but I'd had my transplant, and then microbiology was a core subject, and obviously with my immune system being so low, I wasn't prepared to work with live bacteria. So I said to the uni, is there anything I can do? And at the time, the uni said there was nothing they could do. So they said I could change career paths and do pharmacy. And I said, but I don't really want to do pharmacy. I want to do pathology. But in the end, I wouldn't have been able to sustain it anyway because then I got the lymphoma, and then
Mm,
each year something went wrong. Which then I suppose brings me to now, or back, when I was 30. All my friends and family had careers. They all had their life, or I felt like they had their life together and I didn't.
mhm.
And then I only just realized, well, my life purpose was to stay alive and help others.
Yeah. And
So
I
maybe
see you on social media everywhere. You are now an
thank you.
entrepreneur, you spread your
Yeah.
message, you do lots of talk, you're a speaker. What's
Yeah.
got you into all that?
Well, started with the book. I've
Yeah, the book, that's
written
right.
the book purely because I wanted to write the book. It was mainly for myself. And then I thought, look, if it helps a handful of people, great, I've done my job. At least
Mm,
it's helped a few people. Then when people started to read the book, they're like, you need to do more. Your story is like incredible. You need to get out there. And I'm like, no, it's not that bad. Like it's just whatever. And but then when I wrote the book, it was kind of very therapeutic because I had to dissect every single chapter of my life to then get it into the book. So I was discovering things within myself, going, oh, did I really go through that or did I handle that? Whereas back then I didn't see it because I was in fight mode all the time.
yeah.
So it was actually good for me to write the book. And then, yeah, so I thought, well, what can I do now that could make a difference? And that's when I got into professional speaking and motivational speaking. And don't have a problem being on stage because I did dancing and singing for so long in my life. So it's kind of where I belong, really. And I get up and I say my thing, and then I get off stage, and there is nothing more rewarding than people coming up to you afterwards saying, thank you for sharing that, or you've changed my perspective on life, or I really needed to hear what you said today, or my mum's someone has this condition, and so do you, and
Mhm.
it's great to understand it from a different point, someone else's point of view. So that's
Yeah.
the reward I get out of it. Then I love talking, obviously.
Hmm.
So then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to start my own podcast. I had no idea what I was going to do with it, where I was going to go with it. I thought I'm just going to sit in front of the camera and start recording. And that's what I did. And so first 13 chapters or first 13 episodes, I should say, are all about me and my chapters and my book and my life. So it really dissects everything. Then I get guests like you and other amazing people on there, and get your stories and talk about other things. And yeah, that's where I'm at now with the podcast. And then I'm launching a membership and some courses as well to help educate people.
Yeah.
So that's coming within the next couple of months. And then I also do one-on-one coaching. So if anyone wants to, have someone in their corner or someone to go to during that time in their life or even afterwards, I mean, I think there's something special about going through a diagnosis and then coming out of it and creating this better and more fulfilling life for yourself. So a lot of
Yeah.
people get stuck in the fear of, oh, am I going to get diagnosed again? What do I do? I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, yeah, you can, because I've
Yeah.
gone overseas. I've done this. I've gotten married. I've done all these crazy things in the world.
Yeah.
Um, if I can teach other people to do that, then that would be amazing. So I've got a few things that I offer that people can work with.
That's amazing. So there's a online course that you're launching?
Yes, so I'll be launching multiple eventually.
Okay.
But the first one is how to react to a diagnosis
Mm,
because that's the first step, I guess. And
yeah.
then over time I'll be doing some other things. So there'll be during the treatment phase afterwards, how to regain your life. And then we sort of go into specific topics where, from a family and friends point of view, how to treat a patient. I
Mm,
got treated very differently because I was, unwell all the time. And at school, I got treated differently. I wasn't allowed to do things because I was unwell. And I strongly believe that no matter what age you are, whether you're in school or not, for me, and I think a lot of other people, you just want to be treated like everyone else. And
yeah.
if you need help, then the person that's going through it will reach out for help when they need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all you can do is just be there for them in the meantime. And we love company. So coming over and sitting with us or going for lunch or something, if we're
Hmm.
able to,
Yeah.
um, is priceless to us. Spending a couple of hours with us, knowing that you're just gonna have a chat with us, not ask about our medical stuff 24/7. So that's
Mm,
another course that I'm willing to bring out. My
okay.
husband and I had to live on one wage for 10 years, so we had to battle a mortgage and bills and medical bills and you
Yeah.
know everything.
Hmm.
So one of those courses will be about that, and then
Hmm.
another one will be, for example, and I only really tapped into this in the last year or so, how important it is to look after your body,
Mm,
because I didn't throughout my 20s. One, probably because I was in my 20s, and two, because I just wanted to be like everyone else. I didn't want to miss out.
yeah.
Um, and now I'm realizing that it is so important to look after your body, but not from just a food space, but from a physical space, a mental space, from what brings you joy, that sort of thing.
I love it.
Um, yeah, so there's a few courses that are due to come out, but one at a time, one step at a time.
Yeah, amazing. That is what I talk about as well. How to look
Yeah,
after the body. But I don't
that's
think I was looking after my body in my 20s and I didn't have any health challenge like you did.
yeah. Well, that's it. See, and so to then throw health challenges on top of that, it's
Yeah,
very important because it's about recovery, right? And the better shape you're in, or the better you put in your body, the quicker you're going to recover.
absolutely.
I was recovering from sepsis very quickly, and the doctors were all shocked because they're like, sometimes one patient will go through one sepsis episode and take
Yeah.
6 to 12 months to recover.
Mm,
Whereas your one, that you were in a coma for 7 days and had the cardiac arrest, you recovered within a month.
amazing. You must be eating
And I
good
was like,
foods
what?
and
Yeah,
yeah,
it's all about, looking after myself as well on top of that.
that's it. So who would you be your ideal coaching client? Who do you coach?
At the moment, I'm pretty open to anyone that needs my help. But
Hmm.
ideally, I'd love to take people through initially being diagnosed and setting them up.
Hmm.
So that way they can continue momentum throughout their diagnosis and not get into into a ditch. And don't get me wrong, have your moment. I have had my moments.
Mm,
And
yeah,
I strongly believe it's the ability to get out of those moments as quick as you can.
yeah.
Like, go and have your little sook in bed, or go and, whatever you need to do to have that emotional moment. But then don't stay there. You need to really get out of there. So I can teach you how to get out of there as well. And then my second, if I were to pick top two, would be someone that's freshly out of their diagnosis, in remission, not just cancer, anything, because I've been through multiple stuff, and they're worried about how they're going to move on with their life.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about your support network? You've got a boyfriend now, a husband, and he's been so supportive, and you've
Yeah.
got a great family. How important is that, do you think?
Mm. I think anyone. So it's funny because I'm the rock for my family. So essentially,
Mm,
I'm the one that's actually supporting my family, but my husband's the rock for me. And at the end of the day, you only need one person. And
mm,
so for me, it's my husband. I was grateful and lucky enough to have one. Now a husband that we've been married 7 years, so for half that time, but then having beforehand as well. So I was very grateful and fortunate to have that. But it could be a best friend, it could be
mm,
a someone you look up to, it could be your medical professional, it could be anyone really. And if you still don't have someone, then that's where I can step in and be your mentor and be your rock for when you need to speak to someone about things that you don't need to speak or don't want to speak to your family about. Um, I am very grateful and fortunate that I do have, great parents and a brother, and Aaron's parents are great too.
mhm.
Um, so for me, that's all you need really, and you only need a couple. You really don't need a lot.
Yeah, that's great. That's
And then
amazing.
you've got your friends. I've only got a handful of people that I can actually call friends and
Mhm.
know that they would be there, in a time of need.
Yeah.
Um, and they will be when I do need it. But I've also tried not to lean on them either because I do
Mm,
want to be strong and I do want to steer the car, so to speak, because
yeah.
I'm the one that's going to control it. No one else is.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. So your podcast is called I'm in Control, and all I can
Yeah.
see is strong and resilience in your face. And that is what Amelia's like. It's going
Thank
through
you.
so many things, still staying strong and being resilient.
That's it.
Yeah. So, what does your self-care look like nowadays? What do you do to look after yourself on a typical day?
The main thing, and it's not a big one, it's I never ever used to listen to my body ever. It
Mm,
was just push, 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 push through everything. You'll deal with it later. And often enough, I'd land myself in hospital.
mm,
So now it's really like, oh, I'm really tired or I'm really sore. I need to take a break, and I will make sure I take a break. That is
yeah.
absolutely the number one thing. I make sure I exercise 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's walking, whether that's going to see my personal trainer, whether that's just move. And you know what? Celebrate it. I
Mm,
never, when I had my sepsis episode, my recent, like the worst one, I was like congratulated for walking, 10 meters or whatever, or less than 10 meters. I was like, what do you mean that was nothing? And they're like, no, for you, that is something. So celebrate.
mm, yeah,
So if you
absolutely.
can't, if you're having a bad day, but you got up to actually walk to the other side of the house and you got up to get yourself a glass of water
Yeah.
or you got up to get some food, then celebrate that.
Yeah.
Um, Drinking water is my number one thing. I always have done it all my life and always will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another self-care tip. And food. A lot of the time I was eating a lot of junk food, unhealthy food. Now I've flipped that around. So it's good quality, fresh produce, meat with some veggies or like some sort of protein with some sort of salad or some sort of, I might have the cheeky pasta once a week still because you
Mm-hmm.
still have to live. I
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But I sort of think if I'm doing it 80% of the time, then I'm okay with that.
absolutely.
And then the
Yeah.
last thing would be just find something that brings you joy. Like right now, I'm like singing lessons for me is bringing me joy. So I'm going back to that, that I
Great.
did when I was a child. So
Okay.
find something, and it doesn't have to be something paid. It can be something as simple as if you love doing puzzles, go and get a puzzle. Or if
Yeah.
you like coloring in, go and get a really nice coloring in book and start doing that. Just sit down and enjoy that moment and just reflect and do nothing because sometimes
Mm.
everyone thinks that your body needs a rest, but I
Yeah,
do believe your mind needs a rest as well. And
absolutely.
my mind is just on 24/7.
Yeah.
So taking that time out where I just don't think of anything. And if you're into meditation, go and meditate for half an hour. If that is
Mm.
your happy place, go and do that. You have
Yes,
to find that. I can't help you find your joy.
absolutely.
Um, that's all individualized, obviously, but yeah, they're my main self-care tips at the moment. They're really simple things. But then I can get deeper into them with you and really focus on things more
Yeah,
on a deeper
amazing.
level.
So much positivity, gratefulness, again, strong resilience. Yeah, you are amazing.
Thank you.
Great. So thank you for coming on. And how can my listeners find you?
Absolutely. So I've got my website, which is www.emiliaosullivan.com. So Amelia is Emilia, and then O'Sullivan, but no apostrophe in the email. Sorry, in
Okay.
the website.
I'll put it all in the
Same
show
on
notes.
social,
That's okay.
and same as the social media. It's just Amelia O'Sullivan. If you search that in, you'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn.
Great. And people can buy your book
Yeah, through my website.
and they
And
can
at the
follow your,
moment,
yep.
with my courses haven't been released yet, but I am taking on one-on-one clients at the moment. They just have to message me through social media, so either Facebook or Instagram are probably the two best ones to message me on.
No
And then
problem.
I can attend to it that way for now.
Okay. Great. And you've got your podcast.
Yes, so that's called I'm in Control. That's pretty much everywhere. The main
Okay.
one that people listen to, I think, is Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. I don't know. I don't have an Apple phone.
Okay.
I've got a Samsung, but yeah, as far as I know, it's on pretty much all listening platforms.
Great. I would encourage all my listeners to buy your book and listen to your podcast and follow you on your journey, which is so
Thank,
inspiring.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I think it just puts things into perspective that people whinge about they can't, they're overweight, they're tired, they're busy with kids, and you're just next level with so many operations and lots of things that's happened to you from a very young age, from birth to you're only young, you're only 32.
Well, yeah, that's it. I think it's acceptance. Once you accept it, then you can move on very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. All
Yeah,
right, well, thank you again, Amelia, for coming on to the Prescribing Lifestyle podcast.
no problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thanks all the listeners for listening. Until next time, I will bring to you another amazing guest.